All right, hey guys, OFD checking in here, and today it's finally time to take a full review look at the Marathon GSAR. This is the 41mm diver watch. Pretty new one, a new release with this polar dial for them. They also have the Jumbo Day dates available now, which are pretty cool. Those are, I think, coming around 45 or 46mm. But I've had this watch now for 2 weeks. I did an unboxing of this watch 2 weeks ago as of yesterday, as of Thursday. And honestly, I haven't taken the watch off. I just took it off for this video, and I'm going to probably put it right back on after I finish doing the video. So if you guys know me, I have a lot of watches. That means I haven't been wearing the Sea Dweller, I haven't been wearing the Breitling, I haven't been wearing the Doxa. It's pretty much been this on my wrist. And there's a lot of different reasons why, and I'm just truly in love with the watch. So I picked this watch up from a new watch group out there that's just getting started. As a matter of fact, they're so new that their website isn't really up and going yet, but that's MILSPEC Group. MILSPEC Group is owned by gentlemen with law enforcement background, and they want to offer watches at great deals out there. So the brands they're going to be carrying are Marathon initially, MWC, and what's the other one? LÜM-TEC, and all really, really cool companies and really nice, well-made watches. If you know Marathon watches have been adopted through militaries throughout the world, and they're just a really tough, bulletproof tool watch. So let's go ahead and talk about the specifications on this one first. I want to get that out of the way. So interestingly enough, this is advertised as a 41 watch, and when you're looking at the watch like this, it truly is 41mm at the bezel. But I'm going to turn it to the side here to show you that the bezel does overlap the case a little bit. When I do a measurement of the case itself, where it's going to set on your wrist, it's actually closer to 39mm, which for me wears perfectly in a watch this size. You got about 13.5mm of thickness on the watch. You're at about 48 lug tip to lug tip, so all good there, great sizing, and 20mm lug openings on this one. Now, everything about this watch is a tool watch, truly. I mean, look at the bezel, the grip for the bezel. Spins very nicely, very easy to manipulate. That's going to be the idea behind these watches, or behind this bezel, behind the crown on this watch, is it's meant to be able to manipulate in difficult situations. So the white dial watch, I chose this one just because I tend to enjoy white dial watches. I have a lot of black dial dive watches, and I thought the white one would be great, especially for summer. I wore this one out on the lake quite a bit last week in Lake Tahoe. Loved to paddleboard and kayak, and so this spent a lot of time in the water, on the lake, on the beach with me, and I really enjoyed having it. I also stayed in my camper. I was camping, and so having these tritium tubes on here, it was just spectacular. These watches, if you're not familiar, they have tritium tubes on the dial. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit closer so you can see them. They are, they stick up above the dial, as you guys can see there, and I'll kind of tilt to the side. You guys can see that hand stack there for the hands, which are really nicely done, but you can see the depth of those tubes, and I think that's why that hand stack is thicker there, because of those tritium tubes. So the dial layout is typical, military style dial layout. You've got the 12 hours and the 24 on the inside there. Clean Marathon logo up there, and automatic 300 meters or 1,000 feet. You have the radiation logo over there just around the 3 o'clock position, because of course the tritium tubes, if that tritium was out of there, it is radioactive material. That's why it's always glowing there. So inside the watch, this watch is actually running a Sellita SW200. Now, I'm not sure what grade it is. I doubt it's going to be an elaborate grade movement in a tool watch like this, but neither here nor there. The watch has been running great for me. In wearing it for 2 weeks, the watch was about 6 seconds slow. Now, I don't check it every day, but I basically set it to my clock on my on my phone, and then I checked it, and basically it was within 6 seconds of that, just about 6 seconds slow. So in a matter of 2 weeks, absolutely no problem with that. So it's running really, really good. The construction on this is very much industrial. It's a tool watch, so pretty much brushed. I don't think there's any polishing whatsoever on this watch. You do have pierced lugs, and one of the really, really super impressive things with this watch, I'm going to bring one of their pins up here to show you, is they don't have any shoulders on these watch pins. And so these pins actually go all the way through the case here, basically, the lugs on the case, and you can see they're all the way out there at the end. So it's going to be a very, very secure fit, very super secure, especially if you're going to wear this watch on a NATO strap, which for one of the weeks I actually wore it on this Marathon NATO strap. If you wonder about these straps, they're super, very well made, great hardware, everything like that. And their rubber straps also are absolutely spectacular. I actually picked up a 22mm Marathon rubber strap that I've got on my Glycine Airman DC4. I mean, it's a 200-meter, waterproof watch, so I can wear this watch doing pretty much anything. So having a rubber strap on there is nice. But Great looking timepiece. MILSPEC watch or MILSPEC group. They're going to be selling these watches pretty soon. I will make sure to leave information about them down below in the description. And as soon as the website is up and running, I will definitely get their information on there. So go ahead and flip it over real quick and show you guys the case back on the watch. Lots of interesting writing here because it is a military, style watch. So it's going to have all of the information on the back. The watch, where's to dive, ISO 6425. It's got, the 26, this is joules basically, saying it's a 26 joule movement, which the SW200 does. But really cool. Lots of different writing there on the back. You can get these with a U.S. military dial, a Canadian military dial. You can get it with the Canadian maple leaf there in the center of the dial. So there's a lot of different options available with this watch. MSRP on these is $1,500 on the rubber strap. It is a three-piece rubber strap. You get a longer buckle section there for those with bigger wrists out there. And $1,800 is the asking price for these watches on the metal bracelet. So let's go ahead and get this one on my 7-inch wrist. I'll show it to you on both the rubber strap on my wrist and also on the NATO strap. And then stick around. I'll get a dark shot of the tritium tubes. Now, they're not going to glow really bright like LÜM, it's just different, but they glow all night long. You don't have to charge them or anything like that. So let's get this one on my 7-inch wrist. All right, so here's the watch on my wrist on the rubber strap. They are tall watches. I know the jumbo day date I think comes in around 17 millimeters, so it's even bigger. But you kind of expect that from a tool watch. Natural rubber on this strap makes it super comfortable. But something about this watch I absolutely love. I wanted to note too, you guys see this thick silver rehaut going around there. It actually helps with the glow of those tritium tubes. It almost acts like a flashlight, which is pretty wild. So great silhouette of those black syringe tip hands against this white dial, and especially with that sweeping red second hand. So let's go ahead and throw it on the NATO strap, see what it looks like on the NATO strap, and then be sure to stick around and I'll show you how these tritium tubes perform in the dark. All right, and so here's the watch on my 7-inch wrist on the NATO strap. These NATO straps are really nice. They feel like heavy duty, but they're not the super thick, like seatbelt material, which I like this feel better. I've worn this one for a week. This is actually the one I wore most of the time when I'm swimming and hiking in Lake Tahoe, so it's broken in pretty good for me, but it feels real nice on the wrist. So let's dim the lights and check out the tritium tubes on this one. All right, so here's the watch in the dark. Now, tritium tubes are a little different. You don't get that super bright glow like you do with LÜM, and you can see that on that 12 o'clock pip on the bezel itself. That's called Mariglow, and that's actually Marathon's proprietary LÜM. Now, you look at the indices, and they're glowing this nice kind of faint. It's actually much brighter than it looks in the camera, but what's wonderful is those are always glowing like that all night long, no light source needed. The pip will actually kind of start to dull out. It glows pretty much all night anyways, but compared to the pips on the watch, or the loomed indices on the watch, it's really super impressive. So let's go ahead and get this one back under the light and close out the video. All right, guys, well, there you have it, the Marathon GSAR 41. I guess would be considered like the medium-sized version of the watch with the polar dial. And I love it on this nylon strap, this desert tan nylon strap. I think it looks great. So I'll leave information about MILSPEC Watch Group down below in the description of the video as much as I can right now. And, of course, when their website is up and running, I'll leave all that information. You guys like the video? Give me a thumbs up down there at the bottom. And if you've not subscribed to the OFD channel yet, please do. Please do.